You're listening to Never Heard of It, a Night Shift Radio production. So I'm in a new place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, totally new backdrop there.
Yeah. So I've got my Doctor Who thing. You can't see it, but it's actually a really cool, like, a Where's Waldo Doctor Who picture. So there's like a bunch of different references to tons of seasons, like every Doctor's in there, like River Song's in there. It's really cool. Anyways, it was a Christmas gift, birthday gift. But anyway, so I have soundproofing directly in front of me.
Okay.
And the way I used to do it in my last two places is I would actually either glue it or double-sided tape it to the wall.
Yeah.
Well, what I learned was that's stupid and you shouldn't do that because if you ever look to remove it, it's going to tear the fucking paint off your walls and fuck it up pretty bad. So this time around, I was like, I've got a brilliant idea. I am going to glue it and double-sided tape it to cardboard and then nail the cardboard to the wall.
Okay.
So I did that. But unfortunately, the foam is not sticking to the cardboard as well as it would the wood. So now halfway through while recording this upcoming episode, the foam has now fallen off my wall. So I'm going to have to get a stronger tape or glue to do it. So now I've just got like, there was 8 pieces of foam up there. Now there's about 5 and just blank cardboard instead.
The foam pieces that Kitsy sent me when I set this office up, they're like, yeah, just use the double-sided tape and stick it. And so I did that. And like we had them all like real nice and neat and lined up perfectly, like no gaps and everything like that.
Yeah.
And they just like kept falling off, like 1, 2, sometimes 4 at a time. And I'd have to keep placing them back up. And like, over time they would hold a little bit better, but like for like the first few weeks they just kept falling off, and so finally they have now since like all stayed, I managed to, like, apparently I wasn't pressing firmly enough or some bullshit, so they've managed to stay up there for several weeks now, actually like a couple months at this point. But the last several times that I had to put them back up, I out of frustration didn't do as good of a job lining them up, so they're all like crooked and there's like gaps in between them and stuff.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah, it's not. It's a really tough thing, and I actually saw which maybe down the road I'll grab. Elgato just released like a bunch of panels that you basically. They're like they're like framed ones. So basically, you expand the panel, and then the foam just kind of snaps into it. Nice. But then they're mounted. They're like framed, so you can just snap them up onto a wall, like hang them like a painting, and it's a lot easier than having to do that. So I might end up doing that down the road. We'll see. Or if Elgato, if you're listening, I have several of your products. Please send me this for free, and I'll talk about it a lot. But we're not here to talk about soundproofing. That is our series on podcasting, which eventually will come to our Night Shift Radio YouTube channel, which hopefully you are watching right now. But that being said, I know. Hello and welcome to the Never Heard of It podcast trailer edition. I'm your host, Michael Fight.
And I'm Caleb, and this week I'm reliving my early teens.
Yeah. So we are talking about the movie The Puppet Masters in our upcoming episode. So this is a 1994 film, which was based off the book by Robert Heinlen.
And of course, we've done a couple of Heinlein-inspired movies in the past, so we talk about it in the upcoming episode. I mean, we've covered Starship Troopers. I had totally forgotten that Heinlein was involved in Destination Moon. Fairly prolific mid-20th century sci-fi writer. Probably fairly questionable in his values. He's not around to ask anymore, but it's fairly apparent that he may have been a little bit iffy in life, but maybe it's just he wrote about what he saw, the fascism of the World War II era and the espionage of the Cold War, and of course the casual misogyny of the era as well.
Yeah.
But that said, like they were interesting stories and don't always translate well to the screen.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of Destination Moon, about 2 years ago this time, we covered Destination Moon and A Trip to the Moon with Kitsy. That was our
That's
first
true.
introduction to Kitsy being on the podcast, and then eventually joining Night Shift Radio. Kitsy at that point, that was I think the kickoff to them starting to be the sound engineer on this show. And then eventually led to Left of the Dial, and then eventually led to Night Shift Radio, and then Night Shift Media Group. So that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I remember the original text was like, "Hey, dude, I love your podcast, but can I please edit it for you? One, can I make it sound good for you? And two, can I come on in and talk about Destination Moon and A Trip to the Moon?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yes, and very yes."
Which is so that's what kicked it all off. Of course, now Night Shift Media Group is we've done so much. We're at 6 active podcasts with a few more on the way. We've got a live show actually in just a couple of weeks. Left of the Dial Live is going to be kicking off with the band Long Neck. So you can check that live show out Saturday, April 24th on the Left of the Dial YouTube channel. For those of you watching this episode or this trailer on YouTube, there'll be a link in the end card. So you'll see there'll be a link to the Left of the Dial YouTube channel. You should definitely head over there and subscribe. So you'll get a heads up when that live episode airs, but it'll be April 24th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. On the Left of the Dial Live, which is pretty cool.
If you're listening to this trailer the day that it comes out, and potentially the full episode when it drops, if you're on our Patreon, tomorrow, Friday the 9th, we'll be teeing up a little preview of that Left of the Dial Live by having Long Neck on the podcast to talk about their record, World's Strongest Dog, and hopefully chat a little bit about the upcoming performance. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. We're going to record it in like an hour.
That's what a great way to learn about the band a little bit before you watch their live performance. That's pretty cool. Now, you may be asking yourself, oh yeah, and coming up, we have the Superpod HeroCast actually has a guest coming on. So actually this Friday, they're going to be covering the film Batman and Robin. And they have a guest. I know. They have a guest on called Justin Mousseau, who is a TikTok celebrity who covers comic book history. So he's kind of made a name for himself where he does the history of specific characters or specific comic book events, and he does all sorts of comic book stuff. So that's pretty cool. So Justin Mousseau is actually going to be on that Superpod HeroCast episode talking about the Batman and Robin movie, to which he was like, fuck yes, I will talk about that movie. He was very excited to want to talk about it. Now, you're probably listening to this or watching this and being like, that is just so much to keep track of. How will I ever keep track of all that? Well, my friend, have we got a solution for you?
Oh boy.
You can actually sign up to the Night Shift Media Group newsletter. So we have just recently launched our newsletter. It's only we're really light on emails, maybe only 1 or 2 a week. But you can actually get notified weekly a recap of all the episodes that are happening and all the things that are going on with Night Shift Media Group. My dog is so excited about this newsletter.
Stoked.
She is absolutely stoked. So but yeah, so you'll get notified when this drops, when all the things. So the one that's just went out last week talked about our new episode, Save Yourselves. It talked about Left of the Dial doing Harvey Danger. It talked about the upcoming Second Edition 1 episode, Collaborators, and it teased up a little bit about the Left of the Dial Live. So this is a really great way to kind of keep up to date with all of the happenings in the world of Night Shift Media Group, because it is a lot.
And speaking of our most recent episode about Save Yourselves, if you haven't watched that movie yet, you absolutely should, both because it was easily one of the best movies of 2020, but also because we make a really great connection directly from that movie to the movie that we're going to talk about this coming Sunday, the Puppet Masters, and you're going to want to have that context when you hear us talk about it. So.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned, Save Yourselves is streaming on Hulu, but the movie that we're going to be talking about this coming Sunday is called The Puppet Masters. That one is available on demand. It's only a couple of bucks to rent. So if you're the type of person that likes to watch the movies before we talk about them on the full episode, that is your way to do it. Of course, as mentioned, if you are an internet sleuth, you might be able to find it by other means. However, it is very readily available in good, clean HD-ish on those on-demand services.
And you know what? There's a pretty good chance that no matter what source you watch it from, you're going to have a slightly better experience than I did as a kid watching a promotional copy and having to deal with the text streaming across the screen
Your watermark
every 5 minutes or so.
Yeah. So definitely check out. And again, as Caleb mentioned, if you are a Patreon subscriber, that full episode is available today. It is available right now. So you can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/nightshiftradio, and listen to it immediately, as well as all sorts of other things, bonus episodes from Never Heard of It, early access for Second Edition 1, updates on Left of the Dial Live, and of course, exclusive concept art for our upcoming animated series, Show 17 for Humans. So so that's going to be pretty exciting. So definitely check that out. Caleb, where would they go if they wanted to contact us or learn more about this show?
If you want to learn more about this show specifically, you can head directly to thenohoit.com. That's THENHOIT.com, where, of course, we have our upcoming list of episodes, where to watch them, and check out a trailer if you want to learn a little bit more. And then just below that, directly below, is a contact form where you can reach out and be like, "Hey, good job, guys," or "Hey, fuck you," or "Hey, watch this movie." And you know what? We'll read them all. We appreciate them all.
Heck yeah, we do. And of course, if you want to hit us up on social media, you can head over to the Night Shift Radio Twitter account, which is Media NSR, MEDIANSR on Twitter. Yeah, good Twitter. Very easy way to kind of get an amalgamation of all the things that are happening. Or again, you can sign up for the newsletter. Either works. But thanks a lot for joining us on this trailer episode, and we will see you soon.
But in the meantime, we got to hop a spaceship to Titan.
Yeah.
To take the fight to them.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my